Mysterious stories.
Many secrets have devoured over the years, but it may not be today or tomorrow, and practically everything ultimately appears.
Open the hatch.
Number 10. The YouTube channel TFIL Group is on a guided tour of Egyptian sites when they decide to sneak away and do their own investigating, then divide into smaller groups to cover more terrain. TFIL finds an unusual discovery in a random pile of adjacent wreckage, which he swiftly displays to the rest of his gang when they reunite, called a portion of someone's backbone.
Anybody else want to hold a skull?
People don't like to see
seriously?
Because not allowed.
Whoa.
No send it for internet, this one, please.
Huh?
You don't send it from...
If this is an original TFIL discovery, clean it, and pile it in a mound for later. Then their tour leader eventually discovers human remains, which the group silently studies and grudgingly passes around. Number 9. A construction crew in Dorset discovers a stretch of ordinary-looking property that hides an old secret while they are working on a new road where a seemingly unremarkable location is the final resting place of no less than 51 unidentified bodies. One pile had only the bodies, the other contained all of the grimacing heads perfectly organized in rows, so through DNA testing, scientists were eventually able to discover that these were the remains of Scandinavian Vikings who were taken in combat and had their heads removed. By analyzing evidence of minute food particles left within their teeth, scientists were able to determine their country of origin, yet, the construction workers only knew that they had discovered scores of bodies without heads. I imagine what they thought as they tried to make sense of the gruesome scene. Number 8. Craig Wilson, a YouTuber, opened it up a little more and was taken aback by what he discovered below, conducted some home repairs when he found a hole in his backyard.
This hole goes down, down, down to a giant cavern.
Craig wonders whether a gigantic earthen cavern extending 16 feet straight down was natural or man-made as he continues to film from such a great height. Craig swiftly sealed the hole. Always remember the massive underground threat that once threatened his home, and according to his and his wife's thoughts, there was a well around 60 or 70 years ago. Number 7. When coming across a downed tree, Aquachiga is compulsory to investigate, and he notices an unusual shard in the newly turned ground right away.
Weird. What do you think?
This prompts him to look inside of the hole. He doesn't see anything else at first, but then...
Ooh, what's that? Stuff might just have gotten real, guys.
At first, Aquachiga doesn't notice anything else, but eventually, he hopes it's merely a tent made of green fabric. When discovering buttons, he realizes that this is someone's blouse because he sees more remains and turns them over and over, attempting to discern whether they are human or not. According to his mention, they are right next to the highway, and that cops discovered another body in a creek not far from here. Then he finds a deer jaw and other scattered animal remains, so he chooses not to call the cops. This was just animal remains, which can't explain the cloth he discovered, or how a couple of other bones appear like they could have belonged to a human, and please tell me what you think this was. Number 6. Charles M., a YouTuber, is looking at an ancient mansion for sale in Las Vegas owned by the Mafia, and he discovers a fake wall in the kitchen and descends an old set of steps to a secret basement during the house tour. A white room appeared at the end of the basement with two smaller chambers about the size of a closet. They all give him a horrible vibe because the two smaller rooms are quiet and gloomy, especially the doors have knobs on the exterior. A solitary expended bullet casing appeared to be hidden inside the ventilation shaft of one of the rooms, and I'm not sure why the mob would have needed a soundproofed area from which no one could escape. Number 5. Michael Delaney, a YouTuber, follows it and soon finds himself hovering above a rattlesnake den. Flies his drone when he stumbles upon a wild animal in the brush. Michael sees their natural environment. Suddenly, one of them feels intimidated enough to respond. The snake managed to dislodge the camera. Michael understands he'll have to reach into an underground pit of snakes or want to see his GoPro again, and the situation becomes a lot more serious. Before pulling it to safety, he balances the GoPro on the end of the stick. then he's standing in tall grass, and a wayward rattler may easily have bitten him. Tell me whether you think you'd be courageous enough to do the same thing, or you'd leave your camera with the reptiles. Number 4. Construction workers in Augsburg were astounded to discover a World War II massive gadget, which weighed 1.8 tons and could have easily gone off just from making contact with their heavy digging equipment in one Christmas morning. Over 54,000 people were promptly evacuated from the city by police, and according to experts, the blast radius would have been nearly 1 mile in all directions. Number 3. A demolition crew in Philadelphia comes across a historic and tragic discovery while constructing new flats in parking, swiftly shifts to an excavation operation, with enormous cranes lifting casket after casket out of the ground. These caskets date back more than 300 years and contain authentic human remains, and all of them have been transported to a different cemetery sometime in the 1860s. To save money, whoever was in charge of the operation lied, which means that for hundreds of years, people have been walking on top of these unmarked caskets without realizing it happened somewhere near 2nd and Arch Streets in Old City, so tell me if you happen to walk by them. Number 2. Mr. Technical Difficult and his friends are relaxing by a river when they notice an old abandoned cooler on the opposite side, but they don't pay much attention to it and become intrigued about what's within. They have had enough of the suspense, then decide to grab the floating container.
Open the hatch.
Remove an excessive quantity of masking tape and lift the lid to reveal a black-eyed doll staring back at them. The scary doll wears red suspenders, and the head is oriented directly towards the camera so no one discovers, and they all stand around uncomfortably laughing. Until now, the group wondered how this doll threw down the river or who was behind this unusual message. Number 1. Metal Detecting 24, a YouTuber, discovers a little metal trash can buried a few feet underneath, is in the woods doing what his screen name suggests. Let's open the lid and see what someone might have left him in the middle of nowhere, and he pulls the trash can out of the hole, bracing himself for the worst. The head of a woman mannequin with a blade attached to the right side is inside the trash can, and both of them are smeared in red paint. I'm not sure why somebody would want to make this and hope that it is merely an imaginative artistic expression, rather than the inner workings of a demented psychopath lurking in the woods. In any case, Metal Detecting 24 is terrified at this stage, even stays to document the occurrence for a little longer. Thanks for checking out this video. Be sure to subscribe because I upload a new video every day. Or if you're still not convinced, here are some of my other videos that I think you'd like. Enjoy.